Everyone had written him off. Teachers sighed when he walked in. Students rolled their eyes. He was that kid, always failing, always confused. We used to joke he'd never pass high school. But then something happened. He came back after one holiday break and topped the first test. Not second, not third, first. And that was just the beginning. What changed? He didn't get smarter. He just unlocked something Harvard researchers quietly published years ago. This is how the dumbest kid in our class outsmarted us all. Let me tell you about Eric. He was always lost. Notes never had them. Homework late or never. When he did try, it felt like he just didn't get things. His sentences trailed off halfway. Once in a biology quiz, he wrote, "God decides the function of cells." The teacher nearly cried, but the worst part, no one helped him. We all laughed silently or otherwise. Even I thought he was hopeless, but looking back, I think he knew. I think he felt that loneliness, the silent judgment, and maybe that's what lit the fire. Then came winter break. When we came back, Eric was different. No jokes, no loud entrances. He was quiet, focused. He asked questions. He started sitting in the front. His answers made sense. In the first test, he ranked number 1. We thought it was luck, but he did it again and again. We were stunned. What happened during that break? I had to know. So, I did what any curious friend would do, I asked. And what he told me flipped my world upside down. I found some research papers. Harvard stuff, he said. Turns out I wasn't dumb. I just didn't know how to learn. Then he showed me exactly what he did. Here are the 4 surprising techniques he gave me. Here's where it began. Eric did something that looked almost stupid. He stopped rereading his notes. No highlighting, no underlining. Instead, he'd read a page once, slam the book shut, and try to write down everything he remembered. At first, he struggled. His notes were messy, full of blanks, but that's the point. It's called active recall. And Harvard researchers say it's like lifting weights for your brain. Most students passively absorb information. Eric forced his brain to retrieve it over and over. And just like a muscle, the more he struggled, the stronger it got. He told me, "It's not supposed to be easy. I want to fail now so I don't fail later." That hit me hard because when you actively recall, you're not studying for a test. You're training for war. Number 2, interleaving. The next thing Eric did made no sense to me at first. He stopped grinding one subject for hours like the rest of us. Instead, he'd study math for 30 minutes, then switch to biology, then to history. It felt random, chaotic, like academic multitasking. But it wasn't. It was interleaving. And it's one of the smartest ways to study. According to Harvard cognitive scientists, why does it work? Because when your brain switches tasks, it doesn't get lazy. It has to work harder to tell concepts apart, which forces real understanding. Eric said, "It felt confusing at first, but then my brain stopped memorizing and started thinking." It wasn't chaos. It was clarity disguised as confusion. Number 3, spaced repetition. Now, here's the part that separated Eric from the crammers. He didn't just study hard, he studied smart. Instead of going all in the night before, he'd review in intervals. Day 1, Day 3, Day 7, Day 14. That's spaced repetition, a method built on the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. Science says we forget most of what we learn fast. But every time you review something just before you forget it, your memory strength doubles. Eric's memory wasn't better than ours. He just knew when to trigger it. And guess what? Harvard Psychology Department confirmed that spaced repetition can improve test performance by over 50% in just weeks. Eric turned his study schedule into a battle plan. Not last-minute panic, but long-term mastery. Number 4, the Feynman Technique. And finally, the technique that made Eric unstoppable. He started teaching himself out loud in his room in front of a mirror. It's called the Feynman Technique, named after a genius physicist who said, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." Eric would grab a concept, let's say photosynthesis, then pretend he was explaining it to a 5-year-old, and when he got stuck, that was his signal. Back to the source, he'd say. He'd revisit the topic, break it down again, and try once more. He wasn't just reading anymore. He was translating knowledge into simplicity, and that's when it became his. Feynman once said, "The first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool." Eric made sure he never fooled himself again. Over time, Eric didn't just top tests. He gained confidence. He started helping others, including the same people who once laughed at him. He showed us that being dumb is a myth. Most students don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because no one taught them how to learn. So, here's your mission. Pick one of these 4 Harvard techniques and try it for 7 days. Don't just read this, apply it. Eric didn't change his IQ, he changed his approach. And so can you. Share this with someone struggling in school. And tell me, which of these techniques are you going to start using today?